Now listen very carefully. I hear everything. Even when the wall is speaking, nobody else can hear it but me. I truly believe that as we evolve, we will hear things that we didn't hear. Before. Just take a moment now. Listen to the silence between my words. The sweet, beatific ecstasy of silence. Can you hear it? Be with me in this moment. Can I ask a question? Before you ask your question, tell me if you've truly heard the sweet kiss of silence. Well, I have a question about the sweet kiss. Naturally, you have a question about the sweet kiss of silence. But tell me if you've actually followed my words. Yes, sir. That was the question, because when I was listening to the silence, I couldn't hear your words. So I was wondering if you could help me listen to the silence and hear your words at the same time. That's fair. That's very fair. You've asked a very fair question. Thank you, sir. I honestly do not mean to be disrespectful in asking this question, because, on the surface, it's ironic that you're asking us to listen to silence when you're talking, sir. It certainly seems to be ironic, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Tell me why it's ironic. Well, it's ironic because I can't hear silence, sir. And I suppose it's doubly ironic that I can't hear silence when you're talking. Tell me how long you've been in this class, Rupert. Oh, I've just been here a couple weeks. I'm just auditing. I've been standing in the back of the class. Just got a seat today, which is why I don't recognize you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, but I was told that this is really the best class, and I shouldn't miss it. Yes. Yes, it is. Rupert? Yes, sir? Tell me why this is the best class. Well, Professor McLeod, maybe because of what you just said. What did I just say? Oh. Well, I guess it's just what I just said, really. Rupert, tell me. Yes, sir. Tell me what's happening now. I don't understand the question, sir. Maybe Sheila does. Sheila. Tell me what's happening. I don't know. Everybody? Does anybody know? Can anybody help out? Rupert? Sheila? Anybody? Yes. You there, in the back, tell me your name. Sir, Professor, I'm Mark. Huh. Mark. Okay. Tell us why this is really the best class. And really go deeper, Mark, and tell us what's actually happening right here, right now, in the classroom. You're talking about silence, sir. You're telling us to listen to the sweet kiss of silence. While you're talking. So, for me, that just says that either you don't know what you're talking about or you really do know what you're talking about. And because you're the professor, sir, I'm going to just presume that you do know exactly what you're talking about. And if I take that guess, then I would say that you know very well that when you're talking about silence, there's no silence on the surface of things. Yes? Go on, Mark. So there must be something else going on. Yes. And sir, if I'm correct, you're saying that essentially that whatever is happening in that moment is happening now. And it's kind of defining the whole context of the whole thing. And that's really why your class is just the best. Yes, and tell me what that whole thing is, Mark. Well, I could tell you, but I don't think I understand it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Silence. Yes. But I don't understand silence, sir. I'm just like Rupert and Sheila. I don't know what you mean by that. Right. In class. This is quite a conundrum, and this is not anything that they taught me when I was growing up. Silence. Why is it that that we can hear silence. Go ahead, Rupert. Give it another shot. Tell me why we can hear silence. Because silence isn't actually silence. No. Sheila, help Rupert. Tell me why we can hear silence. Because we're more silent than silence? That's right. We're more silent than silent. Yes, Mark. See, that's why your class is the best, sir. Because I don't really know what that means. But I sense that you are right. And I'm really excited about that, but I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. Like, if we're more silent than silent, it's like, is silence really silent? Does it make a noise if we're more silent than it? No, Mark, that's the point. The silence that is more silent than silence. Tell me, class, what that means. Tell me what it means. Sir? Yes, Sheila. I don't know if this is the answer to your question, but when you talk like this, if something happens to me. Yes. I just start to really feel a lot. Like I'm thinking about my mom, how she's in the hospital. She's in a lot of pain. And before you were talking about listening to silence, I just was kind of blocking it out so I could be here in the class and just pay attention to you, sir. But when I just started listening to the silence, I just got flooded. With all these feelings. About my mom. Right. So tell me, Sheila, what's the difference between the silence and the feelings? Silence allows me to feel. What I had pushed aside. Right? Because it was just some kind of noise that pushed aside all the feelings. Right. I don't know what you mean by that. Yes. Class. Rupert. What is the noise that pushes aside the feelings? Tell me. I mean, she gotta push aside the feelings to be here in class, I guess, because if she can't do that, then she can't listen to you, sir. And so I guess that noise is just... I mean, the noise is kind of like, you know, whatever the thoughts are. Not bad. Pretty much. Now tell me, Mark, what is silence? What is all that noise? Go ahead. I don't understand that question, sir. What is silence plus noise? Yeah. So you have all this noise. In Sheila's case, she's got all this noise that tells her to push aside her feelings. And then this silence comes in, Mark, and it says, listen to the noise. Sir? Yes. Silence listens to the noise. Correct. But I see that. Silence listens to the noise. Correct, Sheila. Sir, can I add something to that? Rupert? Silence listens to the noise, and then that's the music. Tell us what you mean. Silence listens to the noise, and that's the music. Like, we see the meaning. We understand the meaning of why the noise was functioning the way that the noise was functioning. And we can't get to that until we're silent enough to listen to that noise. And they're like, oh yeah, right. I get it now, I get it. I get why that noise existed. It was there to protect me from, well, in Sheila's case, it was protect her from the grief, so she could be here in the class and study and learn and all that. And so the silence listens to the noise, and then the meaning is created, which is really, sir, it's just the music, if we're going to keep using the sound metaphor. Yes. Well done, Rupert. It's not a metaphor, though. It's not a metaphor. See, the noise is trying to create music. But that noise is all fear-based. And so when the silence listens to the fear and to the purpose of the fear, the meaning behind the fear is released and becomes music. Music is meaningful in that conscious sense. Noise is also meaningful, but it takes silence to release the meaning so that the meaning can pop and become... Tell me, Mark. The meaning can become music, sir. Right. Now, when we listen to the silence that creates meaning from the noise and produces music, what listens to that silence? That is the root and engine. Yeah, go ahead. It's like what you said, sir. It is. What did I say, Sheila? It's the silence that listens to the silence. Correct. And so, class, what is the silence that listens to the silence? What is it? Anybody know? The silence that listens to the silence. So we say, the silence that listens to the silence. The first silence that's listening to the silence, we capitalize that, capital S. And then the lowercase silence. The lowercase silence, that's what actually interfaces with the noise, creates the meaning of music. But what is the capital S silence? What is it? Anybody? I see we're getting some active participation from Rupert and Sheila and Mark in the back. Tell me if anybody else wants to speak today. Or I've got my three warriors. Listen. Now tell me something. What is listening? What is listening, class? Sir, what is listening? Are you asking us what is like listening to this conversation right now? Or are you asking us what is the activity of listening? Not sure which one you're asking. Great question, Mark. I'm asking both. It's no accident that you actually thought of both of those meanings. What's happening here? Sir, do you mean like what's happening now in this moment? Yes. So that's like a third question, sir? Of course. The questions can multiply. What is questioning? Oh my God, sir, you're blowing my mind. That's right, I am blowing your mind. And that's a good thing. We don't blow enough minds, do we? What is listening? What is a silence that listens to silence? What is questioning? And what does it mean to blow your mind? All of these questions, all of them, all of these inquiries originate from silence. And they originate as silence. Without no silence, there ain't no sound. Without no silence, there ain't no meaning. Without no silence, there is no music. Without no silence, there is no noise. The rest of the class is dismissed, except Rupert, Sheila, and Mark. You three stay, the rest of you can go. And when you're leaving, and when you're at home, all of you, be silent, find the silence. Speak with silence, and listen with silence. You come back to the next class, it should be the same time next week. I want you to be silent and tell me what it is. Okay? That's the homework, that's the assignment. Thank you, everybody. Mark, come up here and sit with Rupert and Sheila. So, I dismissed the class early. We have some time here. I selected the three of you because you're engaged. This inquiry is latched onto you. It's not latching onto any of the other students. That's perfectly fine. It's not their time. going to go to the next level of the inquiry. Can't do it with them in the room because they're not silent. The four of us are going to be silent. That does not mean we will not speak. Tell me why there is no dichotomy between silence and speaking. Yes. Professor McLeod, I think there is no dichotomy between silence and speaking because a person can be truly silent while they are speaking. Yes. And Sheila, if they are truly silent while they are speaking, what is speaking? Professors, then that would mean that silence is speaking. Right? And it's not something like in a hushed, whispered voice like you're doing now, Sheila. That's not what we're talking about. We could scream, and it would still be silence. Why? Sir, I get what you're saying to Sheila, but I still don't get it. I still don't get it. What do you not get, Mark? I can feel like I'm dancing on the surface of what you're talking about. And if there's something that I'm missing, yes, there is. It's the key. It's the linchpin that holds it all together. Tell me what you think, Rupert. I just kind of want to run, sir. Oh, but you're here. You're not running anywhere, Rupert. I know, but that's part of, like, what comes up for me. Like, when you were talking to Sheila and she was telling you about her mom and in the hospital and everything. And then I started to want to run. Yes. So you had this real fight or flight and you wanted to fly. You wanted to get the fuck out of here. That's right. Do you know what running plus silence is out there? Outside of the classroom, in the world, as we say? I don't know if they could be like running and silent the way that I'm talking about it, because I'm not talking about it like being silent, I suppose. It's called a marathon. Sir? Yeah, that's one example. You're out there and you're running for miles and miles and miles. It's not just the 26-mile marathon. These could be the ones that are, 100, 200 miles. You can't run those without silence. Silence creates that marathon. Oh. But what is the silence when a man is running 200 miles? What is the silence? I don't understand the question, sir. Yes, Sheila. Tell me what you don't understand. When you say silence, it's like you're saying that silence is like active, because you can't run the marathon unless silence is like propelling him or goading him or something, maybe motivating him. I don't know. Very close. Mark, I don't know, sir, I don't know about silence goading and motivating and propelling, like what Sheila was saying. It's like there's a power that happens that builds. Sir, there's a power that builds. And just as I listen to Sheila and Rupert, I'm just taken back to a period in my life where I lived in this city. Well, it's really kind of like somewhere between a town and a city, and there was something explosive about the way that I was living my life. I don't know what that means. I don't even know that it was explosive during the time. I just look back and I'm like, that was more explosive. But I don't know if that's true, and I don't know if that's what you mean by silence, Professor. But that's what comes up for me. Just like it's, Rupert wants to run. Yes. Class, before I talk about silence, I meditate. I'm actually meditating in this side office here before all of you file into the class. You may have noticed that none of these classes are the same. And there is no curriculum, and I don't use the chalkboard. So, yeah. I'm really tremendously honored that you asked me to stay after class. Of course, Rupert. Yes. But I feel that I may be failing you right now, and I feel a lot of pressure for your expectations to be fulfilled. I don't feel like I deserve to be here. Wow. Rupert. I'm the one who decides, really, it's silence that decides that you do deserve to be here. You're worthy of this experience, and it's not really something that you could do, consciously through the behavior of your ego. You're listening. You listen deeply, Rupert. Even if you're disoriented and you feel like running a marathon right now, because you're so afraid. And she was the same as is Mark. You're all listening so deeply. But sir, I don't understand how we're doing that. That's right. That's right, Rupert. You don't understand how you're doing that. Because that listening, it precedes your personality, your ego. It precedes Rupert. Rupert is generated by that listening. And that listening has grown. Class, it's grown over hundreds of millions of years. Billions of years, truly. Sir. Yes. You're telling us that listening itself is billions of years old, correct? Would that also mean that silence itself is billions of years old? Absolutely, Mark. Now you're getting it. And, sir, now I'm starting to see something else that you only have touched on in passing, sir. I know what you're about to say. That's why the four of us are here. Because the listening deepens in the presence of people who actually listen. Tell us, Mark, what's coming up for you right now? Meaning is billions of years old. Yes. Silence, listening, being, meaning, billions of years old. Go deeper, class. I just want to add to what Mark said. Years. Professor, years is the idea of years and that kind of thing. That's noise, isn't it? It's noise. Yes, Sheila, Rupert. Tell me what she's talking about. It's time and the way that we talk about it on clocks is just like a kind of noise, sir. Yes, but that also kind of suggests, or maybe really suggests, oh wow, I really want to run now. Even the idea of billions of years is just noise. Correct, Rupert, and tell me what listens to that noise of billions of years. Silence. It does. But it's the silence, the big-ass silence that you talked about. Yes. The big-ass silence that listens to the little silence, that listens to the noise and creates music and time. So what's going on? What's happening? And I'll tell you what's coming up for me, sir. Yes, Mark. What I was seeing, or what was coming up for me, was there's this silence and listening and meaning is what came up for me. Silence is the activity of meaning. Listening is the activity of silence. But I don't get it. It just came to me, though. Silence is the activity of meaning. Professor. Yes. There's only meaning. Only meaning. And meaning is consciousness itself. Tell me if that makes sense, Professor. Of course it does. Sir, can I add to what Mark is saying? Of course, Rupert, go ahead. Just as there's only consciousness, there's only meaning. There's nothing that is not consciousness, and so, really, sir, there is nothing that is not meaning. And when we are silent, with that capital S, silence, we can really hear and feel. That's the thing, sir. We're really feeling. ourselves as meaning. And really, meaning is food. Yes, it is, Sheila. Notice how you just leapt right from what he was saying and spoke the next frequency of truth. Meaning is food. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Meaning is food. Meaning unto itself. What is it? Now, class, it's infinite. It's eternal. Meaning is infinite and eternal. It's what we call consciousness. It's what we call source. It's what we call God. It's ever present. There's never a moment where meaning is absent. Even the nihilistic preoccupation with meaning is itself, class, meaningful. What is more meaningful than a life devoted to meaning and finding meaning, because meaning is absent? That necessarily says that meaning is there, and meaning is the suchness of the entire pursuit of meaning. There is no such thing as meaninglessness, because that itself, class, is a very meaningful concept. Why would there be the concept of meaninglessness if it weren't for meaning? So truly, you can't even have meaninglessness, just as you can't have nothing, because nothing doesn't exist. Therefore, there's no such thing. No thing called nothing. Right? No thing called nothing. And you can see it clearly, can't you? There's no such thing as meaninglessness, because that is meaning. Meaninglessness means the absence of meaning, and therefore that's the meaning. You can't go anywhere and not encounter meaning, because everywhere you go to try and find meaning is itself, meaning. And just like nothing, if it were truly meaningless, it wouldn't exist, because we wouldn't be, if it did exist, we'd be able to interface with it. And it would instantly have meaning. Why, class? Yes, Mom. It would instantly have meaning because it would be meaning. If something exists, it is meaning. Correct. But sir, I just have a question. Is that something that we're projecting onto it? Absolutely. But just because we're projecting meaning onto something doesn't mean that it's inherently meaningless until we come along. It can only sustain the projection of meaning because it's inherently meaningful. It's just that we give it a particularly human flavor of meaning that we project upon it. But, Mark, every single human being would, in him or herself, project a different flavor of meaning, and that would be meaningful. A doorknob is meaning. A rock is meaning. Sir, the more we talk about this, the more intensely I feel the pain of my mother in the hospital right now. Yes, Sheila, I know. More and more sad. I know. I really don't want to be this sad. That's the noise. It's the noise that says, oh, gotta get away. The sadness is too painful. Gotta go. And that's also meaning. But like I said, one of the reasons I kept you for here is because you're at a higher octave, a higher frequency of meaning, and the silence generated by the presence of each of your souls generates more silence, generates more meaning. Silence is the activity of meaning. Listening is the activity of silence. Listen. Silent. They are anagrams. Listen and silent. The more we listen to the silence, the more we generate meaning. We're going backward, as it were, in the chain of causality. Listen to the silence, generates meaning. The meaning generates silence, which generates listening. In listening, tell me, class, what is listening, truly, on a deeper level? Listening is really feeling. Right. Exactly. And that's why you're feeling what you're feeling. Sheila, you're feeling it. And that's why Rupert feels like running, because that's what Rupert's been doing. And then with Mark, he's constantly cogitating about these greater horizons of enactment, which he felt in that town that wasn't really a town, but wasn't really a city. These horizons of enactment, constantly calling his soul. That's what he's feeling when he's listening. It's feeling. Yes, the ears feel sound, but we're going deeper than that, aren't we, class? Listening is actually feeling. Capital L. Listening is feeling. Feeling. We say listening. We say listening because when we talk about listening, we get silent. That's so much easier for us to kind of grok the reality than if I were to talk about just the eyes seeing, because the eyes typically don't see nothing. Unless they're closed. But then they're closed. So, I like the listen approach better, because then you're actually having open ears and you're hearing silence. Sir, what I've taken from this, I've taken so many things from this, sir, and I'm so grateful. I'm just thinking that listening to silence is really actually super active, where it just seems like at the beginning of class I was just like, oh my gosh, what are we doing listening to silence? But now I see it's the activity of meaning. Yes. But sir, the way that you're saying it is so fascinating, because you're saying we listen to silence, but silence listens. Yes, it really is about these interchangeability of perspectivizing. Really. So, class, we're going to be dismissed in, just under 15 minutes, somewhere around there. Sheila. Listen. My sadness is not inconvenience. It's just really painful. And I want to run like Rupert. And I want to go somewhere else, more meaningful like Mark. And that's part of the noise. But now it's music because I'm listening. And now I know that the four of us together are helping me be here. At my mother's bedside in the hospital. I'm here now. You truly are. You're here in the classroom, but you are there. In the hospital room. Stay. We're right there. She's gonna pass away soon. I don't want to lose my mom. But I know it's her time. And I'm sad, but I'm happy. Go into that happiness, Sheena. Tell us why. I'm happy because I know it's not the end of my mom. I'm sad because I'll miss her. But I know that she'll just go somewhere else. Sheila, tell us why you know that. Why does your mom go somewhere else? Because she's a soul. And the soul just keeps on. Keeping on. And the soul is meaning. It's just this really tight, iridescent sphere of meaning. That's what my mother is, and that's what I am, and that's what we all are. And she's been soaking up so much meaning from her life. And now it's time to go. And none of this is separate from like what's really happening. Like what it's really about. The whole. This is the whole. And I am too. The whole. Yes, the whole, like the, not the thing in the ground, but the whole. The WHOLE. The whole. My mother's passing is the whole. And Rupert running is the whole. And Mark's ever-receding vistas of meaning is the whole. It's always the whole. That's right, Sheena. And tell us, what is so special about this dying moment? I can't limit the special. But I can say that I could see, I can feel that death. It takes us to that deeper level of listening and therefore silence, and therefore meaning. Sheila, can I ask you a question? Yes. When you say that, I'm just thinking that, like, death is what plugs us directly into meaning. Because it strips away all that noise that prevents us from listening to the silence of meaning. And we can either run, or we can listen, or we can get lost in our feelings and no longer listen. But Sheila, if we truly listen, we become that silence of meaning and see the whole like you, feel the whole like you. And that's the deeper silence, that whole, that infinite and eternal consciousness. Tell me if that's what's going on for you, Sheila. It is, Mark. It is. And I can see that our journey is to just be that silence more and more and more. Which is to be that meaning more and more and more. And that the more that we go through all these lives and go through all these deaths, the more we realize that everything is meaning itself. And meaning is food. And meaning, there is just no way to describe what is meaning. No way but infinite sentience. Eternal sentience. We call it meaning. That's only relative to us and our hunger for food. Food is meaning. But when we rest in that whole, we are meaning. We are sentience. We are consciousness. Death is what points the finger right at our true nature. I'm gonna miss my mom. But the missing is food. The missing is meaning. Sheila, why do I keep running? Why does Mark keep doing whatever he's doing. Well, you're chasing death. Because that death is really the only thing that you think imbues meaning into your life, but you can't catch it because it's chasing you. Oh God. I think Sheila's just gone an octave above me. I can't grasp what she's talking about. Like, when I'm trying to get these ever receding vistas of meaning, like I don't see that. It's chasing death. And I do actually see death chasing me, I guess. Professor, I don't know what she's talking about. Why would I be chasing death? Why would you be chasing death, Mark? What is she talking about? Sheila is right there at her mother's deathbed in the hospital. She's caught death. Tell me what that means, Mark. I want to know what it means, sir. I can definitely I can relate to being chased by death for sure, because that makes me fucking keep going. No, I get it. If death is where the meaning is, I get it. I'm chasing meaning. And that means I am chasing death. These ever-receding vistas of meaning is the ever-receding vista of death. So, what I'm seeing is that I have to do death. I've got to do it. I have to do death now. I have to, whatever my analog to Sheila's deathbed experience with her mom, whatever that is for me, I've got to do it. And whatever Rupert is, got to do it for him too. Professor McLeod, tell me if that's what it is. That's what this class is all about. Silence. Listening to silence. And to get to that first silence, the capital S, that is the activity. You gotta find that death. Because that death is how you go back into meaning, into source, into infinity. Into the eternal.